Hello, babes. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about the friendship in the first episode of Gossip Girl between Blair and Miss Serena. I won't be breaking down the entire episode, but I do want to dissect and discuss a few key parts because, to be honest, when Serena came back from boarding school, she and Blair should have had a real conversation. Serena should have definitely told her the truth instead of acting like nothing happened. But with that being said, I don't think that they should have remained friends. So let's get into it. Welcome to Iconically Iconic. When it came to Serena and Blair, I think it was in both of their best interests to cut ties because the amount of hurt they would go on to cause each other stemmed from deep resentment. When Serena returned, Blair wasn't mad because she knew Serena had slept with Nate. She was mad because Serena had just left. No warning, no explanation, and no goodbye.
Do you know how it felt calling your house and didn't show up at school and having your mom say, Serena didn't tell you that she moved to Connecticut?
I had to go. I needed to get away from everything.
And she had every right to feel hurt about that. However, Miss Serena left because she slept with Nate and couldn't face Blair. And that's where my issue with their fallout begins. Blair had every right to be angry, to cut Serena off completely, but instead she stayed with Nate, not out of love, but because she felt like she had something to prove.
Pretty upset last night. Should we talk about this?
There's nothing to talk about. I've reacted. You say it's in the past. It's in the past. I'm sure you have no feelings for her anymore.
And that insecurity came from always feeling like she was in Serena's shadow. That's not her fault. However, that was how she felt. And I want to touch on this for a second. Not too long though, because I just did a video about this, which you can watch. But when someone is jealous in a friendship, because no matter how hard they try, they don't have the same charm or magnetism as the other person, that creates a dangerous dynamic and it's very toxic. People naturally gravitated to Serena. Blair knew that, and Blair was the bully, the elitist, the girl who thought everyone should kiss the ring. And she just wasn't kind, not even to her own best friend at times. Meanwhile, Serena had that effortless pull. Blair hated that. And I'm sure some of her coldness came from growing up with a nitpicking, emotionless mother who constantly made disgusting comments about her daughter's weight. Couldn't stand Eleanor. I also feel like Eleanor was jealous of Blair's relationship that she had with her father because she was closer with her father than she was with her mother, but I'll be doing a different video on that. Blair and Serena's friendship was a trauma bond. I don't doubt that they loved each other, but I do think they forced themselves to stay friends because they had history. They'd been through a lot, they'd grown up together, and just like a toxic romantic relationship, they stayed because of time invested, not genuine connection. Many people hold on to relationships like that, thinking comfort means love, but it doesn't. And just like in these toxic relationships, this friendship caused more harm than good. Did they have good moments? Yes. From the very first episode, it's obvious Blair is the uptight girl who looks down on anyone who doesn't come from wealth, and that attitude clearly stems from her mother. Blair needed Serena for people to like her, and the truth is, people may fear you, but that doesn't mean they respect you. Fear only lasts until people find a crack in your armor. Then the courage to stand up against you follows. We see that with a lot of people who have power and was mistreating people behind the scenes. And years later, people come out and talk about the abuse that they endured. Blair was a bully, point blank, period. And while Serena may have been selfish and self-centered at times, what she didn't do was traumatize other girls the way Blair did. There's a big difference between fear and respect, and too many people confuse the two. My problem with Blair was never that she was mad about Serena sleeping with Nate. She had every right to be furious, to cut her off and want her to pay, and she didn't have to forgive her. That was an option of hers. They were very young, it was messy, and her anger made sense and it was very valid. But you can't say that you forgive someone and then you're still mad and throwing darts and bring it up. Me, I wouldn't forgive that. We can no longer be friends. Why? Because it's always going to be in the back of my mind. And again, like I told you guys before, you cross me, that's it. There is no coming back for you. But my issue was that Blair had no problem aligning herself with guys who hurt women just because she didn't like those women. Like I said in my previous video about male-centered women, they are a danger to other women and are no different from misogynistic men. Blair knew Chuck tried to assault Jenny. He also tries to force himself on Blair after she's engaged to Louis. Not only that, he attempted to hit her. And my issue with this is that, yes, we know it's a fictional show. However, the writers excuse this behavior and say he wasn't trying to hurt her or he was just in love with her. That's because there are people who actually think that this is okay. So when we speak about shows like this and we dissect certain things, yes, it's a fictional character. However, there are people who think that this behavior is okay and make all the excuses for it. As a woman, how do you justify being with someone like that? Not only that, but he sold you for a hotel. But Jenny sleeping with Chuck was horrible. But you forgave Chuck for everything that he's ever done to you. Okay, girl. That's what made me look at her funny. She also wanted to be this powerful woman. Blair only wanted power to control people. She didn't want power to make a change. She didn't want power so that she could help other women. She wanted power to control women in the same way that misogynistic men do. Now, I love Leighton Meester. She's an incredible actress. But the way Blair constantly excused abuse from a man said a lot about her character. And when she'd get mad, Serena was every kind of slut in the book. She was everything but a child of God. Yet, you still wanted to be her friend. You still needed her validation. And let's be clear, Serena is no saint either. Her sleeping with Nate, no ma'am, nasty work. Because in my opinion, that shows both of them always had feelings for each other. I don't think Nate ever truly loved Blair. I think he dated her for image and also because he had his parents pressuring him to date her, which was so weird. And both of his parents pissed me off. That was it. They had zero chemistry. Serena and Blair's friendship was built on convenience, comfort, and trauma bonding. And that is one of the worst types of relationships. In my opinion, I think they would have matured and grown so much more if they had let go of each other. When they weren't in each other's lives, they seemed to thrive the most. Whether it was in their careers or personal growth, when Serena left and met Steven, she felt free, more focused, independent, and she was flourishing. And Blair too, she seemed to step into herself more when she wasn't clinging to Serena. Some friendships simply aren't meant to last forever. It's life, things happen, you grow apart. You outgrow each other, you keep hurting one another, and in the process, you lose yourself. Blair was always jealous of Serena, and like I said, jealousy is dangerous. You should never be friends with someone who's jealous of you, especially when they want you to dim your light just so they can feel brighter. You should never have to shrink yourself because people are drawn to you. That is no fault of your own. A real friend wouldn't want that. A real friend wouldn't scheme against you behind your back, and a real friend would encourage you to be the beautiful light that you are. Serena and Blair's friendship was extremely toxic. They forced it to survive out of love, but it was no different than a toxic romantic relationship, and like those, it only did more harm than good, as I've stated before. Both of these girls had deep-rooted trauma from their mothers, and in a way, they were able to bond over that. Lily was always off chasing men, constantly prioritizing her love life over her children. She left Serena and Eric behind more times than we could even count. On the other hand, Eleanor was cold, hypercritical, and obsessed with her career. She never really showed Blair the warmth or emotional support a mother should give until later seasons, and even then I still felt like she was extremely hard on Blair. Instead, she constantly judged Blair, especially about her weight, which contributed to Blair developing an eating disorder. What bothered me about that was that once they switched out the actress playing Eleanor, They kind of brushed that entire storyline under the rug, like Blair's eating disorder never existed. And honestly, that was a missed opportunity, especially considering around that time when so many young girls were struggling with the same thing in certain communities. The show could have explored that more deeply and realistically. But all in all, even with their shared pain and history, this friendship was toxic. They bonded through trauma, yes, but that's not the same as healing. They weren't helping each other grow, they were enabling each other's worst traits. And that's why they should have never remained friends. And with that being said, this video has come to an end. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to see next. Topics, shows, movies. Also, make sure your notification bells are turned on so that you always know when I upload. And I will catch you guys in the next one.